I'm
already recording.
You are?
I'm already recording.
You're always already recording.
I know. I want to start in case we miss anything.
Yeah, right? All the conversation.
Pre-conversation. Yes. Welcome to the show. I'm Cheese Kayla.
Sorry.
I caught you off guard, right?
You did? You're like, I'm...
I mean, she's Kayla. I just snuck that in there.
That's fine. I'm Kayla. and she's Paige.
Yes. I was waiting for you. I'm like, go on.
You know what? We'll never get it. It's fine.
It'll be different every time and it'll be great.
Right. So we're in, like, different places. You're, like, in a loud dog area.
They'll try to be not so loud.
Oh, who gives a fuck?
But, oh well.
and I'm now in the living room of my apartment because I felt like shit every time I went to go record. I was like, all right, I'm going to get murdered and I'm not going to be able to hear it because there's like 10 walls between me and the front door. And
dude, I know this might be bad, but like something that I've been thinking about lately is ever since I started doing this podcast, I've had like some weird thoughts.
What?
Well, I've gotten a little bit paranoid.
Why?
I have to admit. Just from like watching so many horror movies all the time, and it's not that I don't love watching them, obviously, but it's kind of starting to affect my subconscious a little bit.
No.
But it's okay.
Okay.
If I need to watch it, if I need to have a Disney week, you guys, that might just be a thing.
That might be a thing.
Because who doesn't like Disney? Like, come on.
We'll have we'll have like mental health days.
Right? Where we can talk about sunshine and rainbows. Well, literally. I mean, I guess.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm in my living room now because it's not scary as fuck. So you're gonna hear cars, you're gonna hear fucking children all the time.
Children, dogs, cars. Fuck it. We live in planet Earth.
Yeah, there's humans everywhere. So tell me about your job.
Oh, my job. So it's pretty chill so far. And so I have two friends that work there, and actually Logan, the guy I mentioned on the previous episode, we used to work together. I used to work in a salon, and I've been doing that for 8 years, and after that amount of time I still like doing hair, but my body was like, you need to step off a little bit. Like, it's a very physical and emotional and taxing job. So I got a lower key job so I could focus on things that I actually wanted to do
like
in
the
my
podcast.
Other time, like the podcast and my music, and just like trying to live a life where I don't just, live
Hate
to pay
yourself.
bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's just so much more to life, and like you do have to make sacrifices if you do want to kind of live a unconventional, if you will,
right.
lifestyle.
Like money is a big factor of having to not have.
Yeah, but I've learned that, well, I've always known, but there's just so much more to life than money. You know what I mean? Like, as long as I have the things that I need, and I'm like fed, and I have somewhere safe to sleep, and I have a vehicle, and I'm with my cat, or if I know my cat's in a nice space, like taken care of, then like it's all good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to have a new car every year like some people I know.
Oh my god, I know, right? What is that?
Whatever. Like, your value is not determined by your worth, and do not anybody ever tell you that.
Nope.
But we live in a fucking capitalist society, and blah, blah, blah. That's another tirade. And but I feel like politics are really complex.
Let's
and
not get into it.
But I know what you're saying. So yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, you do have to sacrifice, like, having that kind of security, I guess. But like, life isn't secure. You know what I mean? Like, you could be hit in the head with a fucking anvil dropping from a plane at any second.
Are we in Looney Tunes?
So, right? Wile E. Coyote can drop it on your ass, or like a giant fucking piece of hail, because I'm in Colorado, could fall from the sky and like kill me.
Oh no.
So it's like, whatever. Like, fuck it, man. As long as you're a good person and, like, being able to pay bills is nice, which is why I got a new job.
Yeah.
So, yes, to answer your question, it's going really good so far.
That's good.
Yes, thanks. Woo!
Okay.
I wish money just came off trees.
Oh my god. Or we, like that phrase, everyone, like, I don't shit money. Or, like, I mean, it would be gross.
I wish I did. I mean, you would fish it out of there. Don't lie.
100%. There would be like specialty shit money gloves invented if that was the case.
Oh, probably. Just like double up, double glove.
Right.
It's fine.
All right. So, oh my god. I'm so happy we did this episode today because I found out something today. Have you ever heard of I don't want to say homemaker and I don't want to say artist because she's a little bit of both. Have you heard of the lady, Christine M. McConnell?
No.
She is fucking amazing. Like, I want her to be my mom. She is like my actual mom. She does all these. So like every time there's a really big like horror movie opening, she did a bunch of stuff for Stranger Things, a bunch of stuff for Alien, a bunch of stuff for Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children.
Yeah.
So
that's a mouthful.
Yeah, right. She does like the premieres and the promotional stuff where she caters them, but she makes these like cakes that are themed to that. Like she makes this entire spread of like when it was Stranger Things, there was like this hand coming out of a heart. It was really fucking cool. But like she also does these photo shoots of herself in these like peculiar situations. So like during the whole Alien thing, she did a whole photo shoot. It was during Easter, so she did an Easter egg hunt where there was like alien face huggers running around everywhere.
Oh, Jesus.
It was really
literally
fucking cool.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Easter, even though it's a pagan holiday, but I digress.
Yeah, right. But that was a bad example, but her Netflix is coming out with a show. She's gonna be on Netflix, and there's gonna be like Dita Von Teese is gonna be a guest, and it's just gonna be a bunch of people who are gonna come to her fucking haunted mansion and talk about horror and baking. And I'm like, what the fuck? I literally like started crying this morning.
Into it.
Right?
You started crying.
I was so happy.
Like, I'm living for that.
Oh my god. Netflix is on a roll. So then they also came out with that. Did you start watching Dark Tourism?
Not yet, but that's next on my list.
Yes, it is. I'm only I think I only actually finished the first episode, but it's really fucking good and I'm really excited.
I bet. I've heard good things.
Yeah, I just started on the second episode. I think it's the episode where they start talking about Jeffrey Dahmer and like people who are super obsessed with him. So
oh, Jeffrey Dahmer has a following for some reason.
Everyone does. Like, so does Manson.
I mean, Manson, Bundy, Dahmer, fucking, like, the classics.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like Bowie and Freddie Mercury.
John Wayne Gacy. Yeah. Gacy, Richard Ramirez. Like, I can keep going, but
all right.
Again.
And then, so have you seen those ads for, like, Facebook Watch TV shows and movies and stuff?
Yeah.
There's one.
I've seen them.
There's one that I haven't watched yet, and it caught my interest because it's all about like this cult that goes into the woods and like disappears, and only one girl comes back. But it's a Blumhouse show. Like Blumhouse produced it and like released it, and I'm like, holy fuck! How have I never heard of this? So
right, you're a Blumhouse fangirl.
I fucking am. We need to do that. Like. Best
Blumhouse episode.
Yeah. Well, that would be like everything currently.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, to be honest. Oh, man. So we got some fun stuff to talk about today.
Yes.
Shudder is a premium streaming service devoted exclusively to horror and thrillers.
They have thousands of hours of killer content, including Shudder originals.
They also have really awesome curated collections, so if you like demons or witches or ghosts, there's definitely a collection for you.
My favorite collections are A Woman's Touch and The Foundations of Horror.
Mine are A Comedy of Terrors and Haunted Habitations.
So go check out Shudder.com and use the code RAINBOW for your 30-day free trial.
That's Shudder.com. Use the promo code RAINBOW for your 30-day free trial.
Hey, Kayla.
Yes, Paige?
Did you know that Stephen King reads and listens to approximately 70 books per year?
Unlike me, who can barely get through one.
Well, for whatever reading level you're at, you can find the perfect book for you at Audible.
Head to audibletrial.com/RAHM to get a free audiobook and a free 30-day trial.
And if you're looking for recommendations, I suggest The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, a classic.
And I recommend Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. Really creepy.
That's audibletrial.com/RAHM. Go get your free audiobook and free 30-day trial. Bitch. Sorry. Bitch. Edit that.
Do you want...
Well, you kind of talked about one.
Which one?
Dark tourism.
The dark
tourism.
Oh, right. Yeah. What about it?
Sorry, I cut you off. I was like, I'm just looking at the notes right now. I'm like, okay, we already talked about that one.
Oh no, I'm talking about like the theme, like the content. Let's go.
Oh,
with
I'm
the
sorry.
Story.
I'm skipping ahead.
Yeah, you are.
Skipping ahead. All right, go on. Sorry.
Nothing.
Apologize.
That's what. Oh my god. Everything is on fire.
Right.
Oh my god. Do we want to explain what we're doing now? How we mashed it all up?
Yes. Please explain.
So we're not doing RAHM reads. I actually went back into Podbean and I was like, all right, or I was like, DDTKA episode number 5, aka RAHM reads number 1, because I was like, we're never doing this again.
Well, yeah, we just kind of decided to combine everything, so during these episodes, we're gonna keep the name right, because I thought it was cool.
Yeah, we're gonna keep the Don't Drink
cool.
the Kool-Aid.
So it's going to be called that. So we're going to be reading your submissions and or things that we want to just read
about.
To you, like a little bedtime story. We're just going to read
or
to you. Or
nightmare fuel. I mean, whatever.
Well, let's be honest. Same thing. You're asleep, and yeah.
Yeah, and if we have a lot of submissions, we'll end up reading a lot of those, and so on and so forth. So, speaking of submissions, do you want to read our first person submission thing?
Yeah. Hold on. Please edit this part out. Please edit this part out. Because I'm like, yeah, because I was going to mention her Instagram name, but I just totally blanked on it, so I had to pull out my phone.
Oh, see, I'm not editing that out. That stuff's funny.
Because it's really simple. It's just a variation of her name, but anyways, alright, fine. Whenever I ask you to edit something out, I'm just gonna realize that you're never gonna edit it out.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm nice. And sometimes I'm like, hey, maybe it might actually be embarrassing. But other times I'm like, this is better than being embarrassed.
It's a roll of the dice. Like, you never know what you're gonna edit out. Anyways, so this is a short story submitted by my friend Liz Hart. She's such an awesome, sweet girl. I met her when I was working at the Museum of Flight in Seattle. And she's just so cute and amazing. But anyway, she is also an aspiring author, and she said she was working on, I believe it was a psychological thriller novel right now.
One of my favorites.
So totally into that.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth, when you get a manuscript out, if you would like someone to read it, I totally freaking will. So you can find her on Instagram at Lisbeth A. Hart. And this is her short story. It's called The Escape. A toast, my roommate Joy says, raising her mug of red wine in the air, to being done with emotionally abusive and manipulative assholes. Same. The summer sunshine streams in through our not yet curtained apartment windows. I smile and clink my mug against hers. So specific and nerdy, I say, taking a swig of my drink. I'm a psychologist. It's my job. You're a middle school guidance counselor. That's your job, I correct her. Whatever. I'm a psych major, and that douchebag was a toxic, narcissist who exhibited passive sorry, I'm trying to spill the tea here, exhibited passive aggression, control issues, anger issues. Yeah, okay, I got it. And after 5 long years, he, and thanks to you, the names of all his personality disorders are burned into my brain. But now I'm free and I'm living with you, so let's not spoil our moving day, I say, setting my mug down on one of the many cardboard boxes that surround us. Totally, Joy says, bending down and ripping the package tape off of a box. Then she slowly turns back to me. By the way, I hate to bring this up, but you fully blocked him, right? I nod my head. Phone, social media, all of it. Sorry, Elizabeth, I can't speak English sometimes. Good, because you know he'll try to find out where you live, and he's got his Wall Street buddies to help him do it. I just don't want him to jekyll and hide his way back into your life. He's done it before. He'll lavishly apologize and he'll play the victim, making you think you were too hard on him, so you take him back.
This is like every relationship ever. Like every bad relationship.
Right. And then you're stuck all over again in a never-ending loop of emotional manipulation. I promise. I know all of his tricks now. I'm done with that bastard. I grin. Hell yeah, Joy hollers and punches her fist in the air, and that's how I want to think that she said hell yeah. Like, hell yeah. My boots touch the welcome mat of the 4th floor walk-up as I stomp the snow off. The white stuff follows me inside anyway as I swing my loaded grocery bags onto the kitchen counter. Joy's bare feet scurry across the floor as she comes out of her bedroom. She stands before me in the nightgown and hair curlers swept up in her long red hair. You got everything for dinner tonight? Yep, I did, pretty lady, I said, unwrapping my scarf around my neck. What about the appetizers? You remember the cheeses? Brie, cheddar, goat, mozzarella, pepper jack, Swiss? Oh, crap, I forgot the goat, I say on my tiptoes, peering into the grocery bag. Joy's cheeks go red. Okay, don't panic. According to Martha Stewart, it's still a cheese platter, even if we don't have every letter of the alphabet, I smile. She grimaces. You're funny. And I would be upset too, honestly, because goat cheese is my favorite. I'm that guy. She grimaces. You're funny. You're stressing, I say back. This is my first hostess gig, she says, unwinding her hair curlers from the top of her head. My family is going to be here for a holiday dinner in mere hours, and I want this evening to show them that we're mature adults and that have our lives together. Well, honey, that's never going to happen. Nope. Let's be honest. Wait, we're supposed to have our lives together, right?
You read our minds.
Right. No, we just have to make them believe we do, Joy says to me. Whew. Well, I think for the 4 Christmas trees you bought at the dollar store, we'll sell them on that, I say, looking at our apartment, at the overlapping strings of blinking, twinkling, and covered lights. Just then, I feel my phone buzz from my coat pocket. I fish it out and look at the screen. Oh my god. What is it? I shake my head. No, it's my uncle. I got a message from my mom. My uncle had a massive heart attack and he's in the hospital.
Oh, no.
He might not make it. I have to get on a plane. I can be there in a couple hours. Joy, I'm sorry about the dinner. I don't even care. He was practically a surrogate father to you when your real one left. Get out of here. I love you, she says, wrapping her arms around. Call me from the airport. I stare down at the boarding pass in my hand. New York to Chicago, flight 1857. 1857. I repeat the number to myself as I lift my head to look at the giant screen before my eyes. I watch the columns of letters and numbers blink and switch between different lists. There it is. I see it from in front of me. NYC to Chicago, 1857. I take a deep breath and look at my boarding pass again. I adjust the straps of my bag on my shoulder and follow the signs to my gate. N1. There it is. I buy a bottle of water at the shop across from it before walking over to one of the only empty seats at the gate between a woman knitting and a man in a business suit with his thumbs tapping away at his phone. I sit down, put my bag on the floor between my feet, and gulp half a bottle of water in one breath before setting it down too. My fingers won't stop fidgeting long enough for me to check my phone for new messages. I reach up and rub my eyes. Through the blur, I look at the sign by my boarding line. New York to Chicago, 1487. 1487. I blink and look again with clear vision. New York to Chicago, 1857. I scramble for my boarding pass that is folded up in my coat pocket. 1857, that's what it says. I look back at the sign. 1857. 1857. I'm on 1857. I tell myself. I take a deep breath and remind myself to breathe. The man at the desk in front of us says into his microphone that boarding will begin in 10 minutes. I turn my head to the side to see if anyone is starting to get up. The woman beside me stops knitting and glares at me. Did I do something? I shift my eyes down and back up again. She's knitting again as though she never stopped. I shake my head and look back at the screen by the gate. Flight 1943. What? I whip out my boarding pass again. Flight 1943. No, I blink. Flight 1857. My eyes shook back to the screen. 1857. What is happening to me? It's the shock. I'm just scared and in shock, I tell myself. I look to my right at the man in the suit. He's looking at me. Ooh. Everyone in his row is staring at me. Startled, I look away from them. When I look back, they're all looking down at their phones like nothing happened. I must be hallucinating. I look back at my boarding pass to steady myself. New York to Chicago. Here's a blank white space. Where's the number? Where's the flight number? It's gone. My head jerks back up to the screen. Nothing. She's freaking out. The numbers are gone. I blink. 1857. Suddenly, my hands scramble for my phone. Shaking, they tap the icons on the screen until I see Joy's name under the recent contacts. I tap it. I hear the line connect. Joy, thank God. I'm having kind of a rough time at the airport. I need to hear your voice. Sorry to hear that, a voice says. The voice is deep. Having trouble with your flight number? Don't worry. You won't need it. You're not going anywhere. Ooh. My stomach drops. I know who it is. How does he have Joy's number? How did he know about my flight? I feel my heart pounding out of my chest. The man at the microphone speaks again. The remaining passengers for flight 1905 may now proceed to board. How is this happening? I feel the walls closing in around me. I look around. Every single person at the gate is staring at me. The room starts to spin. I whip my neck around to see the rest of them. Suddenly, everyone's heads are down again. Hello? The voice on my phone says. What? My voice trembles. Oh, there you are. I thought you forgot about me. I'm hanging up, I say. Why? Because you're boarding? He asks. I hear him chuckle under his breath. You know, I always apologize to you. I never cheated on you. Hell, I never even hit you.
Oh, this is the
But you couldn't seem
ex-boyfriend.
to appreciate any of that. Yep.
Oh.
I loved you and you left me. I guess I just couldn't get it through your head. The way you treated me had consequences. Well, fine. I'll make those consequences clear now. Your uncle's not sick. Your mom didn't send you that message. Everyone in the airport is working for me.
Whoa.
And the water you're drinking, it's spiked. It's sad. You really thought you could run away from the problems you made for me. All I wanted you to do was love me. I just want to slap him.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. You just had to make that so difficult. There is no flight and you're not leaving that terminal and it's all your fault. My gasp for air turns into a scream. Water covers my face. I'm drowning. He spiked the water. I can't get out. He trapped me. I'm in this terminal. It's all my fault. I scream. My body jolts and shakes in the cold water. Wake up, honey. Wake up. I hear the words and open my eyes. Oh, thank God. I threw water on you to wake you up. I'll get you a towel. No, I said, just stay with me. All right, sweetie, I'm here. I'm right here. That was some nightmare you had. What time is it? We looked at the clock together. 3 a.m. Damn, I'm going to be exhausted in 4 hours and it's all your fault. I flinch. What did you just say? I ask. It's all your fault, he said, standing up and walking back to his side of the bed. Relax, he scoffs. I forgive you. He climbs into bed and looks over at me. God, you look terrified. It was just a dream. He leans over and wraps his arms tight around me. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere.
What
the end.
The fuck?
Right? God damn it. She needs to go on witness protection or something. Just like get away from that dick.
Yeah, ASAP.
Yeah.
Okay, few questions.
I'll try to answer them, but I'm not.
Well, no, this is not questions for you. This is
okay.
kind of like discussionary questions. The whole story was a dream, maybe?
Yeah, I think like moving in with her was a dream.
So she was having like a dream of a happier life without him, and then she woke up in a panic because she was still with him, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And in the dream, like he wouldn't let her go and stuff. Ugh.
Oh, I wonder.
Right? Just gives me the dreams.
All right, Liz. what kind of shit have you been through? Because if writing what you know is a thing, you know some shit.
Who hurt you? But seriously, like, it was a great piece, and unfortunately, fortunately, anybody who's a writer or, you know, anything like that, like, they can't write about those situations unless they've been fucking hurt as well. So, it's relatable.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, but yay.
Yay. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you so much for sending that. If, like I said, she's an awesome writer, and if you have anything else to send in, feel free.
Yes.
That was fun.
Yes.
Creepy as hell.
Yeah.
The first time I read it, I'm like, plot twist? As hell.
God, yeah, I don't know what it was about, like, pre the podcast, but I am now getting really into, like, short stories, or short horror stories, short thriller stories, short, horror films. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe I have less of an attention span.
Well, but you're reading the short stories, though.
That's true, yeah.
And that's very good.
Yay! Pat on the back.
No, I'm not saying that, like, people that don't read or anything, but it's just so great. Like, if you can just get lost in a book.
Yeah.
It's just so much different than the internet. I know I sound like I'm 87, but it's okay.
That's totally okay.
Read a book and stay in school.
Whereas my next one is from Wikipedia, which we weren't allowed to copy in high school.
Nope.
And now it's actually, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, people, but, like, can you now use Wikipedia in high school?
I want to say, like, 99% sure yes.
Yeah, right? Oh, God, lucky bitches. Okay.
We had to do things the hard way.
Fucking.
And we learned how to use encyclopedias.
Yeah, we learned how to use a library.
It's actually a very useful tool, but y'all whippersnappers and your iPads.
Hey, I have an iPad.
I'm not. You're just an old whippersnapper. You're like a.
Oh my God!
Like a grandpa using an iPad.
Do you like Eliza Schlesinger? She's a comedian.
I've heard of her. I want to say yes.
Then Netflix just came out with her newest stand-up, and it's called Elder Millennial. And
oh my God.
Because she's 34, 36, but she's like, she was just born right when millennials started. And she's like, she opens her act and she's like, come here, children, gather around the Snapchats. Let me tell you all about the landline.
The mood. That is me. I need to watch that.
You should. It's so fucking hilarious. She's a really pro feminist, but not in an annoying way person.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I said, I need something to watch in between horror movies.
Yeah, this is definitely
to cleanse my soul.
A palate cleanser.
A palate cleanse, yes.
So my submission is kind of a submission. Flynn told me about it a long time ago, so I was like, I'm gonna read it now. And that is The Curse of the Pharaohs.
I love Egypt.
Oh no, what did I just do? I just fucked something up. Sorry, hang on.
It's all your fault.
Computers. Okay, so The Curse of the Pharaohs is an alleged curse believed by some to be cast upon any person who disturbs the mummy of an ancient Egyptian person, especially a pharaoh. This curse, which does not differentiate between thieves and archaeologists, allegedly can cause bad luck, illness, or death. Since the mid-20th century, many authors and documentaries have argued that the curse is real in the sense of being caused by scientifically explicable causes such as bacteria or radiation. However, the modern origins of Egyptian mummy curse tales, their development primarily in European cultures, the shift from magic to science to explain curses. That was kind of weird English. Doesn't matter. Curses, yes. Magic, science. suggests that Egyptian curses are primarily a cultural, not exclusively scientific phenomenon. There are occasionally instances of genuine ancient curses appearing inside or on the facade of a tomb, as in the case of the mastaba of Kentika Ikiki.
Oh, jeez, we're just gonna read Egyptian real quick.
Real quick.
Sorry, any people that actually know Egyptian.
Oh my god, oh my god, that'd be cool. I don't even... Anyways, of the 6th dynasty of Saqqara? Whatever.
Again, we're sorry.
We're butchering
we're freaking
a language.
American and it sucks.
Yeah, what did I say? What did I say the other day? It was like the whitest way I could have said something, but I don't remember.
Oh, you said somebody's name. Like, you said like a French name?
Yeah.
With just very American.
Okay.
Like kind of saying like Jose.
Jose. No, Jose.
Jose. Something offensive, yeah.
Yes. These appear to be directed towards the Ka priests to protect the tomb carefully and preserve its ritual purity rather than as a warning for potential robbers. There had been stories of curses going back to the 19th century, but they multiplied after Howard Carter's discovery of the tomb of Tutankhamun. I think that's actually how you say that, but I could be wrong.
Tut.
Tut. King Tut. Yes, I'll
King
just...
Tut. It's his little nickname. Yeah, when people drive by in their noisy-ass cars, it's like, that's cool. You're disturbing me.
Right.
Thanks.
I told you, did I tell you about that? Like that I tweeted that there are people who live here.
I hear it again.
That's a different one.
Damn, they're zooming.
Oh my god, it's really fucking annoying. I apologize for the cars because I can't control that, but I don't feel claustrophobic anymore, so I don't really apologize.
Yeah, she was recording in a tiny closet before.
Yes. Despite popular
works,
misconceptions, no curse was actually found inscribed in the pharaoh's tomb. The evidence for curses relating to King Tut is considered to be so meager that Donald B. Redford viewed it as unadulterated claptrap.
Oh boy.
Don't
catch the clap.
Oh my god. Yeah, don't. Curses relating to
chlamydia.
Curses related to tombs are extremely rare, possibly because the idea of such desecration was unthinkable and even dangerous dangerous to record in writing. They frequently most occur in private tombs of Old Kingdom era. The tomb of Ankh-Tifi contains the warning, any ruler who shall do evil or wickedness to this coffin, may he men not accept any goods he offers, and may his heir not inherit. The tomb of Kentika, whatever the big long one, contains the inscription, as for all men who shall enter, this is my tomb, impure, there will be judgment, and an end shall be made for him. I shall seize his neck like a bird. I shall cast the fear of myself into him. Curses. It's like, calm down, people. It's just...
Well, yeah, Egyptians took their burials very seriously.
Oh, man, I know.
Like, real serious.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Curses after the Old Kingdom era are less common and thought, though more severe, sometimes invoking the ire of Thoth or the destruction of Sekhmet? I don't know.
Words.
Zahi Hawass quotes an example of a curse. Cursed be those who disturb the rest of a pharaoh. They shall break the seal of this tomb. They that shall break the seal of this tomb shall meet death by a disease that no doctor can diagnose.
But people have unearthed tombs before, obviously.
Yeah, there's I'm getting to that.
Okay. I'm like, did they all die from mysterious deaths?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Really? Really? Okay.
Modern accounts. Hieroglyphs were not deciphered until the beginning of the 19th century by Jean-Francois Champollion? Oh, whatever. So reports of the curses prior to this are simply perceived bad luck associated with the handling of mummies and other artifacts from the tombs. In 1699, I was going to say that's a little too soon, the Louis
Right.
Penitcher wrote the account in which he recorded how a Polish traveler brought 2 mummies in Alexandria and embarked on a sea journey with the mummies in the cargo hold. The traveler was alarmed by recurring visions of 2 specters, and the stormy seas did not abate until the mummies were thrown overboard.
I love the word abate.
Abate? I don't even know what that means. It's like stop, cease, stop, like...
Throw 'em a bait. Yeah.
Zahi Hawass recalled that as a young archaeologist excavating at Qam Abu Belu, he had to transport a number of artifacts from the Greco-Roman site. His cousin died on that day, his uncle died on its first anniversary, and on the 3rd anniversary, his aunt died. Years later, when he recalled... when he excavated the tombs of the builders of the pyramids at Giza, he encounters the curse. All people who enter this tomb, who will make evil against this tomb and destroy it, may the crocodile be against them in the water, and the snakes against them on land. May the hippopotamus be against them in water, and the scorpion against them on land.
That's so specific.
I know, right? I mean, how often are you going to come across a hippopotamus?
Right? I'm like, I wish.
Though not superstitious, he decided not to disturb the mummies. However, he later was involved in the removal of 2 child mummies from Baharia Oasis to a museum and reported he was haunted by the children in his dreams. The phenomena did not stop until the mummy of the father was reunited with the children in the museum. He came to the conclusion that the mummies should not be displayed, though it was lesser evil than allowing the general public into the tombs. Hawass also recorded an incident of a sick young boy who loved ancient Egypt and was subject to a miracle cure in the Egyptian Museum when he looked into the eyes of the mummy of the king Amosi. Therefore, the boy read everything he could find in ancient Egypt, especially of the Hyksos period, which is kind of cool. I mean,
yeah,
it's like, you like us, we'll like you.
Yep, pretty much. I love Egyptian stuff.
Right.
And by the way, you're brave for trying to say all these names. And I don't mean that in a condescending way at all. Because, like, if I had to pronounce any of them, I'd just be like, so.
There's a bunch of stuff about how movies depict the curse. This one is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So this
Curse of the Mummy.
Right.
Duh.
This is all about actually what happened after King Tut's tomb was opened. So, the belief in a curse was brought to many people's attention due to the deaths of few members of Howard Carter's team and other... Hang on really quick. Sorry, there's a track that's like really annoying. It's the bassy fuckers. I don't... Ugh.
Oh, I hear the music like through my headphones.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it adds character.
Right? Deaths of a few members of Howard Carter's team and other prominent visitors to the tomb shortly thereafter. Carter's team opened the tomb of Tut in 1922, launching the modern era of Egyptology. The famous Egyptologist James Henry Breasted worked with Carter soon after the first opening of the tomb. He reported how Carter sent a messenger on an errand to his house. On approaching his home, the messenger thought he heard a faint, almost human cry. Upon reaching the entrance, he saw a bird cage occupied by a cobra, the symbol of the Egyptian monarch. Carter's canary had died in its mouth. I mean, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, if it was alive, that would be a bunch of, like, hocus pocus shit.
Right.
And this fueled rumors of a curse.
They love their curses. We love a good curse.
Okay, so after doing this, the first mysterious deaths was that of Lord Carnivore. He had been bitten by a mosquito and later slashed the bite accidentally while shaving. It became infected and blood poisoning resulted. 2 weeks after Carnivore died, Mary Corelli, who wrote an imaginative letter that was published in the New York World magazine, in which she quoted an obscure book that confidently asserted that dire punishment would follow any intrusion into the sealed tomb. A media frenzy followed, with reports that a curse had been found in the king's tomb, though this was untrue. The superstitious
Oh my god, superstitious.
So many words today.
Yes.
The superstitious Benito Mussolini, who had once accepted an Egyptian mummy as a gift, ordered its immediate removal from the Palazzo Chigi. Good guy.
Good guy.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, creator of Sherlock Holmes, suggested that Lord Carnarvon's death had been caused by elementals created by Tut's priest to guard the royal's tomb, and this further fueled the media interest. Arthur Weigel reported that 6 weeks before Carnarvon's death, he had watched the Earl laughing and joking as he entered the king's tomb, and said to a nearby reporter, "I give him 6 weeks to live." The first autopsy carried out on the body of Tut by Dr. Derry found a healed lesion on the left cheek, but as Carnivore had been buried 6 months previous, it was not possible to determine if the location of the wound on the king corresponded with the fatal mosquito bite on Carnivore. Fucking asshole, laughing.
Fuck. Right. And also mosquitoes. Ew.
Right. In 1925, the anthropologist Henry Field, accompanied by Breasted, visited the tomb and recalled the kindness and friendliness of Carter. He also reported how a paperweight given to Carter's friend, Sir Bruce Ingram, was composed of mummified hand with its wrist adorned with a scarab bracelet marked with, "Cursed be he who moves my body. To him shall come fire, water, and pestilence." Soon after receiving the gift, Ingram's house burned down, followed by a flood when it was rebuilt.
Fucking pestilence,
Right?
man. That's a hell of a word.
Howard.
And a hell of a thing.
Oh my god. They love...
I'm gonna just...
That's...
Sorry, just gonna plug in my computer.
Okay.
But I can still hear you.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, fucking pestilence.
Egyptians
Damn.
love their pestilence. They were like, pestilence for everybody. It's like, Oprah, you get pestilence, and you get pestilence.
Get that bitch some pestilence. Bitches love pestilence. I'm gonna plug in my computer.
Okay. Where was I? Yeah, I'll keep going. Howard Carter was entirely skeptical of such curses. He did report in his diary a strange account in May of 1926 when he saw jackals of the same type as Anubis, the guardian of the dead, for the first time in over 35 years, working in the desert. Skeptics have pointed out that many others who visited the tomb were helped to discover it lived long and healthy lives. A study showed that of the 58 people who were present when the tomb and sarcophagus I did it again!
See, it's like you're from the Midwest, but you're not. Sarcophagus, eh? Oof. Sarcophagus. Oh my god, I'm dead.
And I think there are more people dead in this article.
Can't breathe.
Only 8 died within a dozen years. All the others were still alive, including Howard Carter, who died of lymphoma in 1939, the age of 64. The last survivors include Lady Evelyn Herbert, Lord Carnarvon's daughter, who was among the first people to enter the tomb after its discovery in 1922, who lived for a further 57 years and died in 1980, and American archaeologist J.O. Kinnaman, who died in 1961, a full 39 years after the event. So, this is now a list of all of the deaths attributed to the curse. And
dang,
this is interesting because it kind of tells you briefly how they died. So, the tomb was opened on November 29th, 1922. Lord Carnarvon, we already learned how Carnarvon.
Carnivore?
It's Carnarvon. 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 Whatever.
But Mr. Carnivore sounds better.
We learned how he died. He did the mosquito bite. He chose the mosquito bite.
Yeah.
George J. Gold, a visitor for the tomb, died in the French Riviera on May 16, 1923, after he developed a fever following the visit. Prince George J. Gold. I don't know who that is. I don't know most of these people. Prince Ali Kamel Fahmy Bey of Egypt died July 10th, 1923, who was shot dead by his wife. Colonel The Han, Aubrey Herbert. I think it's the honorary colonel.
Oh, yes. Beyond.
Carnarvons. There we go. I think that's it. But I'm just going to keep saying Carnarvon.
That sounds fine.
Half-brother became nearly blind and died on September 26, 1923 from blood poisoning related to a dental procedure. Fucking dentists, always trying to kill us. Sir Archibald Douglas Reed, a radiologist who x-rayed Tut's mummy, died on January 15th, 1924 from a mysterious illness. Sir Lee Stack died on November 19th, 1924. He was assassinated while driving through Cairo. A.C. Mace, a member of Carter's excavation team, died in 1928 from arsenic poisoning. The honorary Mervyn Herbert, that's a white name.
Mervyn Herbert. Sarcophagus.
His half-brother died, or Carnarvon's half-brother and the aforementioned Aubrey Herbert's full brother died on May 26, reportedly from malarial pneumonia. Captain Richard Bethel, Carter's personal security, died on November 15th. He died in a Mayfair club, the victim of a suspected smothering.
Okay.
Richard Luttrell Pilkington Bethel. That's a lot of names. Died on...
Yeah.
There's more. I just didn't read them. Died on February 20th, 1930. He supposedly threw himself off the 17th floor apartment.
He's done.
Howard Carter opened the tomb on February 16th and died well over a decade later on March 2nd, 1939. However, some still have attributed his death to the curse. There were also about 11 deaths in the first 10 years of... There were about 11 deaths in the first 10 years of King Tut's opening. So, that is the curse of the Pharaohs.
Don't fuck with the Pharaohs.
No, nothing Egyptian. Just don't.
Just don't touch it. Don't fuck with the Pharaohs. Words to live by.
Oh my goodness. So, those are our submissions.
Like it.
Submissions.
Hell yeah. Submissions.
Oh my god. Ugh. It's so hot.
Dude, I know. Can I need to get some water.
Yeah, that's fine. Are you wearing a Hufflepuff sweatshirt?
Hell yeah. What else would it be?
Oh, I don't know.
Just kidding. Okay.
Story time.
Hydration. Well, kind of. So I have was that the only one that you were doing?
Yeah, we don't have any other submissions. Submit stuff, people.
Yes. Okay, so, alright, so I guess, like, ever since we did King Fest, I've been on a huge literary kick, and, like, I love literature anyway, but, like, you know how I said Stephen King was my dad?
Yeah.
So, Sylvia Plath,
is your
who
mom.
I'm going to be talking about today, is my wife.
Oh.
What did you say?
I thought you said
no,
mom.
Oh, no, she's my wife.
Okay.
And then Stephen King is my dad.
Okay.
So Sylvia Plath is one of my favorite authors. She is best known for her poetry, but she did write a novel, her only full-length novel before she died, called The Bell Jar.
Plug for Audible.
Right? I do mention that in my Audible ad because I just love her.
Sylvia Plath.
Okay, let me take a little sippy of my water.
What did you call it? You called her Cynthia Plath in one of our...
On one of the outtakes, because my brain was thinking faster than my mouth. Cynthia Plath. No, Paige, Sylvia. And you know who I think about every time the name Cynthia is mentioned?
Huh.
Cynthia from the Rugrats.
Oh my god.
Duh. She's my girl. So, like, I just imagine Cynthia, the doll, Plath. But no, this is about Sylvia Plath.
A little less fun, a little more depressing, right? Sylvia?
She was one of the original Sad Girls, like probably one of the founders of the Sad Girls Club, along with Virginia Woolf and Emily Dickinson, etc. But I just love her so frackin' much.
Did you just say frackin'?
Frackin' much.
Oh my god, I love you.
Frack you to heck. So she did unfortunately die pretty early. She did commit suicide at age 30. She put her head in an oven ovens used to have gas, you know, so basically you just stick your head in there, breathe real deep, pass out, and eventually die.
So casual.
But V-cash, but she was suicidal up until that, and she did try to take her own life. I'm sorry, I should have trigger warned this, but
I mean, you're talking about Sylvia Plath. I think it's pretty much
yeah. So but yeah, that's a thing that happened, and you used to be able to do that with ovens, but they've made them differently now. And I think I heard about this God, when I was really young. Didn't mean to broken record there, but I heard of people doing that. And then, so when I was like 5 years old, I opened the oven and I was afraid. And my mom's like, why are you afraid? And I'm like, because if I breathe too deeply, I can die. I'm like, where the fuck did I hear that when I was 5 years old?
I don't know. Probably from all them horror movies.
Oh god, just somewhere along the line. But in all reality, like, it doesn't really matter, like, how people die. Like, I personally think suicide is a personal choice. I know that's kind of, like, controversial. Didn't mean to, like, segue. No. But at the end of the day, like, it's your body, it's your life, whatever.
Yeah.
But, it's just kind of a tragedy that she did it so early, because she was only 30, and she was, like, her career was just, like, skyrocketing, and she was so good.
But that's artists, right? Most artists have something wrong. I mean, not to be offensive.
So true. Yeah, they do. So in this article, right as you said that, my eyes just went to this part. Let's see, she attracted a multitude of readers who saw her in singular verse and attempt to catalog despair, violent emotion, and obsession with death. And, like, that's pretty much describes it. She was, quote, one of the most celebrated and controversial of post-war poets in writing in English. And so she kind of, like, hopped between America and England a little bit during her life. And so when she wrote The Bell Jar, her novel, the Bell Jar is very autobiographical. It's basically about when she was, you know, kind of like college age, and she got this scholarship for writing, and so she went on this trip to New York with her school, and basically at the end of it had a full-on mental breakdown. She was, like, in and out of psych wards. She tried to commit suicide once. It was just a lot. So she wrote a book kind of, like, telling her experiences through that time, called The Bell Jar, if that interests anybody. But she also has a couple books just full of poetry, and the poetry is absolutely amazing. She had a pretty shitty marriage, unfortunately, and like in a lot of her stuff she talks about like maybe not wanting kids, or maybe that's just not for her, but this was kind of back
when it was expected.
This is like exactly, and like birth control wasn't very good. It was in the 30s, 40s, 50s, you know, so like you were expected to have kids.
I thought this was in the 30s and like 1940s.
So she was born in 1932.
Okay.
In Boston, and yeah, so this was like 30s, 40s, 50s.
Okay, so not so far back when it was like a lambskin stomach tube for a condom.
Oh God, no! Oh God, no! So yeah, she mostly grew up during the 50s and early 60s.
Okay,
I want to say. So God, no, not a bearskin condom. No, but she did that. That would be hardcore. But she did end up with 2 children, and kind of like a shitty marriage as well.
Also expected to just like behave and be on your best behavior.
Exactly, but she was an artist, and she basically always wrote. She just wrote all the time, and in somewhere that I read, an acquaintance of hers described her as like somebody who just like, you know, she was like really depressed, but she also just like couldn't wait to kind of like take the world by storm, you know, like and I feel like that's kind of a thing in past generations too, more so than ours, unfortunately, just because like people our age are just so distracted now. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to like focus 100% into your, you know, to like sit down all day and write. But I'm so glad she did, because she's an amazing poet, and I love her. So I have a poem to share. So this is called Mad Girl's Love Song, and it's one of my very favorites.
It reminds me of what was the Gary Jules, Mad World, the one from
All around me are familiar faces.
I love that song.
Yeah. I kind of want to like listen to that now.
You're welcome.
Worn out places, worn out faces. But this is Sylvia Plath, like, Mad Girl's Love Song.
Your singing is like our musical intermission.
Right? It just segues right into it. Okay. I have to center myself. I always kind of have to like center myself when I read poetry.
You have a method. You're a method actor.
Right, yes, I'm a method actor. I have to take a couple deep breaths and enunciate. All right. Really,
calm
though,
down.
because like this is just such a beautifully dark poem, but we're giggling, so I have to get in that dark space, man. Hold on.
Now you really need to go watch that comedian.
I have to
get out of Sylvia Plath's head. Paige.
I have to do. No, she's in my head, dude. Like 100%. Like when I read that book, I'm just like, whoa. But that was another thing that she really strived to do as an author. She really wanted to make her work relatable, and her work is timeless. I think, you know, I think it's something that can like hold up years and years and years later.
I haven't read The Bell Jar, but it was always on my, like, angsty teen reading list, but I never read it.
Oh my god, it's so worth it. If you ever do. I totally would do a book club on The Bell Jar.
Well, we have a book club. It's collecting dust.
Technically. Right. Yep. Alrighty. Please edit that out. No, fuck it. We're all human, right? Okay.
Should I, like, do Lamaze breathing with you? Like,
no, I got it. Now I'm just being awkward. Oh my god.
I believe in you.
Maybe you should go. Maybe you believe in me. Just, like, don't look at me.
Okay, I'm looking away.
Okay. Alright.
Can I look at you after you start?
Sure.
Okay.
Stop. Oh my god. We're actually 12.
Yes.
Okay. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I lift my eyes and all is born again. I think I made you up inside my head. The stars go waltzing out, blue and red, and arbitrary blackness gallops in. I shut my eyes and the world drops dead. I dreamed that you bewitched me into bed and sung me moonstruck, kissed me quite insane. I think I made you up inside my head. God topples from the sky, hell's fires fade, exit seraphim and Satan's men. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I fancied you'd return the way you said, but I grow old and I forget your name. I think I made you up inside my head. I should have loved a thunderbird instead. At least when spring comes, they roar back again. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I think I made you up inside my head.
That's fucking hardcore, man.
Right, dude, she...
that
like,
got me
every
thinking.
Time, right, yeah, no, every time I seriously have adrenaline, like, running through my veins right now. Every time I read her poems, I'm like, whoo!
I like that. What is... Okay, I've heard the name a few times. What is seraphim?
Seraphim?
Is it seraphim?
Yeah, it was also used in Annabelle Lee.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's basically an angel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way I've heard it. I mean, I'm much more of a Poe than a Plath, apparently.
Well, I mean, Poe was like heavily taught in school as well.
Oh, was he? I didn't learn any of the backstories of any of these people. I suck.
Well, I feel like Poe, I mean, he's great, but I feel like he's just more of a mainstream figure, you know, because it's like whenever you think of 1800s goth boy author, you always think of Edgar Allan Poe. But
it's true.
Sylvia's like a 1940s freaking babe. I love her.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of the society that we grew up with artists and mental health. Because, like, okay, we're digressing to a very serious thing. So hold with us for just a second. So mental health back in the 1800s was bitches crazy, and so like, but Poe was allowed to be Dick is an alcoholic. But he was a genius alcoholic, whereas when we see things like Sylvia Plath and she fucking stuck her head in an oven, we mock it so much more because we were raised in a society where women weren't really allowed to do that. So we needed to make it light and funny. And it does upset me greatly when it's like, we're learning all this stuff about contemporary male influences, and suddenly all the... I mean, when was the last time we had a biographical piece about a woman inspiration? Can you think of one? I mean, we're getting... I'm not to belittle Freddie Mercury, but we're getting the Queen movie coming up here.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, the last female one I can think of was... Oh, God. There was one... Okay, there were smaller bits, like, there was one with Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks that just came out where she was, like, a kick-ass journalist and stuff like that. But I'm specifically thinking about artists, like singers and writers and painters and... I don't know. We weren't allowed to do much as women before the 80s. No. So...
No, it's so true. And, like, it sucks because they obviously, like, felt the same things that we do. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's just, like, yeah, society's just come so far. It's crazy. It's still not 100%, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's just so much better. And, yeah, she was just like, all right, like, you had a freaking... breakdown, we're just gonna put you away for a while. And they actually gave Plath electric shock treatment quite a few times, and it totally just fried her. Like, she just described it as like the worst pain ever, and she could feel like her brain kind of like scrambling. And but that's just kind of the thing that they did back then, you know.
Fucked up.
Yeah. And lobotomies, don't even get me started.
Oh my God, they scare me so much.
But it's just really just karmatic justice that the guy who invented the lobotomy died from a fucking lobotomy.
Did he really?
You bastard. Yeah. Like, some kind of, he did. He was like, oh, well, I guess it's, like, time for me to get one, huh?
Yeah.
And, they freaking put the needle in his eye and he died.
That's good. That is good.
Like, so many people died and, like, so many people just got brain damage. It's like, oh, yeah, you won't be sad anymore, but you won't be much of anything else.
Yeah, there's so much wrong with the mental health in our society.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of another tortured artist, I actually...
They're our favorite.
I found a piece on Ernest Hemingway and why he committed suicide.
Shout out to Casera. You'll know what I mean.
Casera? I don't know.
My friend. Yeah, we had a teacher in high school who was obsessed with Hemingway.
Oh, God.
And we just kind of, like, made really inappropriate jokes. Go on. Just like he has Hemingway in his trunk at home.
Oh, no.
In his body. Anyways.
So, this is a New York Times article called Hemingway Hounded by the Feds. Early one morning, 50 years ago today, in 2011, while his wife Mary slept upstairs, Ernest Hemingway went into the vestibule of his Ketchum, Idaho house, selected his favorite shotgun from the rack, inserted shells into its chambers, and ended his life. There are many differing explanations at the time that he had terminal cancer or money problems, that it was an accident, that he had quarreled with Mary. None were true. As his friends knew, he had been suffering from depression and paranoia for the last years of his life. This is all like a first-hand account of one of his friends, so it's kind of interesting. So it's more personal.
Yeah.
Ernest and I were friends for 14 years. I dramatized many of his stories and novels for television specials and film. We shared adventures in France, Italy, Cuba, and Spain, whereas a pretend matador with Ernest as my manager, I participated in the Ciudad Real bullfighting. Ugh.
Yeah.
That shit. Do you cheer? Do you watch those videos when, like, the bull skewers the person in the lung? You're like, fuck right!
I mean, you can't really be mad about it.
Right? Yeah.
You know?
But then, unfortunately, the bull just, like, gets shot in the head, but it's fine.
Yeah. But he went down fighting.
Yeah, he did. Literally. So, Ernest's zest for life was infectious. In 19... See, I wonder what happened in the world around the, like, early 90s up until, like, the 70s, because in 1959, this is, like, I don't know. It's weird. I wonder what happened in our government system. Okay, that's... In 1959, Ernest had a contract with Life magazine to write about Spain's reigning matadors. The brothers-in-law Antonio Ordonez and Luis Miguel Dominguin. There's that white person again.
Sarcophagus.
He cabled me, urging me to join him for the tour. It was a glorious summer, and we celebrated Ernest's 60th birthday with a party that was fucking motorcycle. Motorcycles are the worst, along with, like,
I know. Along with what?
The booming bass, anything like engine or music. It's like, we all need fucking Priuses. We just need to be quiet riders.
I wouldn't go that far, but okay.
But I remember it now as the last of the good times. In May of 1960, Ernest phoned me from Cuba. He was uncharacteristically perturbed that the Unfinished Life article had reached 92,453 words. The contract was for 40,000, and he was having nightmares. A month later, he called again. He had cut only 530 words. He was exhausted, and it would be an imposition to ask me, and A month later, he called again, and would it be an imposition to ask me to come to Cuba to help him? I did, and over the next 9 days, I submitted list upon list of suggested cuts. At first, he rejected them. What I've written is prostain. I don't know. In its fucking English. Cumulative. There we go. Cumulative. I can speak.
Cumulative.
I gotta spell it out sometimes.
Oh, I know. I feel it. Hooked on phonics.
Did not work for me.
Oh, I heard it didn't work for anyone.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, no, if you did Hooked on Phonics and still can't spell, it's not your fault. It didn't work right.
Cumulative effect, and if we eliminate detail, we destroy that effect. But eventually he grudgingly consented to cutting 54,000 words. He was resigned, surrendering, and he would leave it to life to cut the rest. I got on the plane back to New York, knowing my friend was bone tired and very beat up, but thinking he simply needed rest and would soon be his old dominating self again. In November, I went out west for our annual pheasant shoot and realized how wrong I was. When Ernest and our friend Duke McCullen met my train at Shoshone, Idaho, or Shoshone, it's some Native American thing. I don't know.
I'm sorry, we're Europeans and can't pronounce shit. Sorry, we colonized your country. I really am.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
English. It's fine. Yeah. For the drive to Ketchum, we did not stop at the bar opposite the station as we usually did because Ernest was anxious to get on the road. I asked, why the hurry? The feds. What? They tailed us all the way back, asked Duke. Well, there was a car back of us out of Haley. Why are the FBI agents pursuing you? I asked. It's the worst hell. The goddamnedest hell. They bugged everything. That's why we're using Duke's car. Mine's bugged. Everything's bugged. Can't use the phone. Mail intercepted. We rode for miles in silence. As we turned into Ketchum, Ernest said quietly, Duke, pull over, cut your lights. He appeared across the street at a bank. 2 men were working inside. What is it? I asked. Auditors. The FBI's got them going over my account. But how do you know? Why would 2 auditors be working in the middle of the night? Of course, it's my account. All his friends were worried. He had changed. He was depressed. He wouldn't hunt. He looked bad. Ernest and Mary and I went to dinner that night before I left. Halfway through the meal, Ernest said that he had to leave immediately. Mary asked what was wrong. Those 2 FBI agents at the bar. That's what's wrong. The next day, Mary had a private talk with me. She was terribly distraught. Ernest spent hours every day with his manuscript of his Paris sketches, published as a movable feast after his death, trying to write, but unable to do more than turn its pages. He often spoke of destroying himself and would sometimes stand at the gun rack holding one of his guns and staring out the window.
Well, that's normal.
I mean, it's a Tuesday for me, right?
Yep.
On November 30th, he was registered under an assumed name in the psychiatric section of St. Mary's Hospital in Rochester, Minnesota, where during December he was given 11 electric shock treatments. Yay!
Yay!
In January, he called me from outside his room.
Actually, boo.
Yeah, he sounded in control, but his voice held a heartiness that didn't belong there, and his delusions had not changed or diminished. His room was bugged, and the phone was tapped. He suspected that one of the interns was a Fed. During a short release, he twice attempted suicide with a gun from the vestibule rack, and on the flight to the Mayo Clinic, though heavily sedated, he tried to jump from the plane. When it stopped in Casper, Wyoming, dude was desperate.
Dude, and you would die if you landed in Casper, Wyoming. Like, people wouldn't find your body for days.
Oh, no, hang on. When it stopped in Casper, Wyoming for repairs, he tried to walk into one of the propellers.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
He was determined.
Yeah. So this is like one of those things where like everything goes wrong and you're like, oh, he just had a mental break, and then it's gonna be a huge spoiler. So spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, this is a spoiler.
Spoiler alert, mental breakdown.
Yeah. Yeah. I visited him in June. He had been given a new series of shock treatments, but it was as before. The car's bugged, his room is bugged. I said it very gently. Papa, why do you want to kill yourself? That's weird. Why would we call him Papa? Anyways, what do you think happens to a man going on 62 when he realizes that he can never write the books and stories he promised himself, or do any of the other things he promised himself on the good days? But how can you say that? You've written a beautiful book about Paris, and about Paris as beautiful as anyone can hope to write. The best of that I wrote before, and now I can't finish it. I told him to relax or even retire. Retire, he said, unlike your baseball player and your prize fighter in Matador, how does a writer retire? No one accepts that his legs are shot or the whiplash gone from his reflexes. Everywhere he goes, he hears the same damn question. What are you working on? I told him, I mean, the artist's struggle is real.
Yep.
I scrolled too far. I told him he never cared about those dumb questions. What does a man care about? Staying healthy, working good, eating and drinking with his friends, enjoying himself in bed. I haven't had any of them. You understand? God damn it, none of them. He turned on me. I was just like the others, pumping him for information and selling him out to the feds. After that day, I never saw him again. This man, who had stood his ground against charging water buffaloes, who had flown missions over Germany, who had refused to accept the prevailing style of writing, but enduring rejection and poverty, had insisted on writing his own unique way. This man, my deepest friend, was afraid that the FBI was after him, that his body was disintegrating, and his friends had turned on him, that living was no longer an option. Decades later, in response to this, he killed himself. He didn't want to say that.
Finally got away with it.
Yeah. Decades later, in response to a Freedom of Information petition, the FBI released its Hemingway file. It revealed that beginning in the 1940s, J. Edgar Hoover had placed Ernest under surveillance because he was suspicious of Ernest's activities in Cuba. Over the following years, agents filed reports on him, tapped his phones. The surveillance continued all through the confinement at his St. Mary's Hospital. It is unlikely that the phone outside his room was tapped after all. In the years...
Well, no wonder why he was like, everything's bugged.
Yeah, because it actually fucking was. Yeah. In the years since, I have tried to reconcile Ernest's fear for the FBI, which I regretfully misjudged, with the reality of the FBI file. I now believe he truly sensed the surveillance and that it substantially contributed to his anguish and his suicide. I was in Rome the day he died. I did not go to catch him for the funeral. Instead, I went to Santa Maria Sopra Minerva, one of his favorite churches, and said goodbye to him there. I recalled a favorite dictum of his: man can be destroyed, but not defeated. Bump.
Now I kind of understand more about Hemingway and my teacher's obsession with him.
Right? Super duper paranoid, but for an actual reason. He was one of those, like, it's one of those fucking stories where, like, he's like, trust me, I'm being stalked, and no one's like, everyone's like, oh, fuck off.
I wonder what he was doing in Cuba, though.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Who knows?
Well, that was when he asked him to come, because he was writing the Time Life article.
Mm-hmm.
And then his friend, the guy who wrote the article, came.
Freaking Hemingway.
No idea.
Sad boy.
Sad artists. So, my last one is pretty quick. But it's another conspiracy type thing. I was on a conspiracy theory kick. So, this is the Jameson family of Eufaula, Oklahoma. Fucking English. Like, what is that? EUFAULA. Eufaula.
I have no
So,
do your best.
The Jameson family of, I'm just going to say Oklahoma. Jameson family of Oklahoma, consisting of Bobby, his wife Sherilyn, and daughter Madison, mysteriously disappeared on October 8th, 2009. The family was reportedly looking to purchase a 40-acre plot of land near Red Oak, about 30 miles from Eufaula, at the time of their disappearance. Their suspected remains were found on November of 2013, so that was 4 years later, and were positively identified by the Oklahoma Medical Examiner on July 3rd, 2014. No cause of death was determined, and the circumstances surrounding their disappearance remain unanswered. So,
dun, dun, dun.
Right. Disappearance. The initial investigation into the Jameson family's disappearance indicated that they had probably not vanished of their own accord. The Jamesons' pickup truck was discovered within a few days, abandoned in the Latimer County, Oklahoma, a short distance south of the town of Quinta. I like how they're saying all these town names like we're supposed to know where the fuck they are.
Hey, I mean, if you're from the area.
Yeah. Shout out to Quinta people.
Hey.
This is kind of sad. So the Jamesons' bodies were not found, but their malnourished dog was still in the truck. Also discovered were the Jamesons' IDs, wallets, mobile phones, and GPS system, about $32,000 in cash. The Jamesons were known for carrying large amounts of cash with them. That's a little excessive.
It's okay. We don't need it.
No. So, several theories emerged about the family's disappearance, such as they had faked their own deaths, they were in witness protection, they were murdered, or had committed group suicide. Shortly before the disappearances, Bobby Jameson was involved in a bitter lawsuit with his father, Bob Dean Jameson, claiming Bob Dean had threatened the family. Bobby stated his father had struck him with his vehicle on November 1st of 2008 and was involved in gangs and meth. Police do not believe that Bobby's father was involved in the family's disappearance. Another popular theory was that the Jamesons were involved in drug dealing. Investigators cited the large amounts of cash found on the Jamesons' truck and apparent strange behavior exhibited by Bobby and Sherilyn shortly before they went missing.
That would make sense.
Right, yeah. The Jamesons had reportedly told their pastor on separate occasions that they had seen spirits inside their home. Sherilyn's mother, Connie Cocoton, whatever, believes that the family were killed by members of a violent cult. She has also firmly denied that the Jamesons were involved in drugs or witchcraft. So
sounds sketchy to me.
Yeah. So the discovery, the skeletal remains of 2 adult and 1 child were discovered by 2 hunters in a remote spot on November 15th or 16th of 2013. More than 4 years after the family went missing, and less than 3 miles away from where the family's pickup truck has been abandoned. They still don't know what killed them, or who, or whatever. So this is like one of the bigger unsolved mysteries. I'm not gonna read I was gonna read the sister. Was it the mother? Sherilyn's mother. She did a whole interview piece on it, and she was like, so before they went missing, apparently they lost like a fuck ton of weight. Like, they got really skinny, and they started acting like really paranoid, and
because the meth.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing, right? Is that why was she like, they weren't involved in drugs, you know?
Yeah,
so
like, we're totally not wink wink.
wink wink nudge nudge, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of sad. It was interesting, but conspiracy theory.
Right? Who done it?
Probably a cult. It's always a cult.
Right. Power numbers.
Do you have anything else to say?
Not really.
You're done.
You, right? I'm sorry. I've reached the point in the day where I'm just like, whoop, like, you know, like if you've gone like a whole day like at full force and then finally you're just like, okay, that's where I'm at right now. Not that I am trying to not sound excited, because I am excited, but
no, it's fine.
I am a human and I have a frail body like humans do that needs sleep.
When's the next day that you work?
Tomorrow.
Is it like every day, or did you work today?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Worked yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
And you're still in training, right?
Yeah, so
okay.
It's all week, but I get weekends off. Like, I've never had weekends off. What the hell?
So you're like
a
normal adult now?
I would not say that at all. But yeah.
That was so cool, though. I really hope that other people submit their short horror stories, thriller stories, sci-fi stories. Yeah. That would be really cool.
Yeah, thanks again, Lisbeth.
Yes. Thank you.
Find her again at Lisbeth A. Hart on Instagram.
On Instagrams. And I think I want to start posting all the stuff we talk about on these episodes on our Reddit.
Okay.
So that, like, you can get the full scoop of everything, especially, like, your poems and your biographies.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
So, if you want to submit stuff for us to read on these episodes, like we said, we're not doing the RAHM reads anymore. We're just doing the Don't Drink the Kool-Aids. We'll mix everything up and make it super interesting. So, you can put all that stuff on our Reddit or on our Facebook group, or you can email it to us at rainbowsandhorrormovies@gmail.com if you have, like, stories and stuff. So, you can get all of our bonus episodes. Oh shit, I have to edit our bonus episode today. It's fine.
It's fine. Note to self.
Yeah. Get the bonus episode that I'm going to edit today at patreon.com/RAHM podcast. We are donating 10% of our monthly earnings to Women in Horror Month, Women in Film, and the Adrienne Shelly Foundation. So you can contribute by becoming a patron, buying stuff from our shop, and signing up for the affiliate programs. You can find all the information that I just said at rainbowsandhorrormovies.com. You can find us on social media at RAHM Podcast. Oh, so I don't know if you saw this. Sorry, side tangent. Dee, who is one of our patrons.
Yes.
And like a really big supporter of the podcast. She sent me this picture today, and it was like, fuck RAHM, amen. And I was like, what is that? So turns out that either the governor or the senator of fucking Chicago is like, his last name is RAHM, like Ram. And I'm like, oh no!
I was like, is somebody making hate mail?
That's what I said. I'm like, is that us? And she's like, no, I think it's a senator. But she's like, the next time he runs for office, I'm gonna send you guys a sign. And I'm like, yes, please.
That got me.
Thank you, Dee, for that information. It made our day.
Yes.
So find us on social media at RAHM Podcast. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at BKDub. You can find Paige at Floral Coffin on Instagram. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Rating and commenting on iTunes is what gets us found. So, just something to think about.
If you'd like.
What?
Yeah, something to think about.
And that's it.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for joining us on Don't Drink the Kool-Aid. Stay strange.
And unusual. Bye. I'm always so proud when we do it.